Hey guys, MybadOmen back again. As promised last time, I told you I would be, I showed you the EK CSQ water blocks, the ×2 ones, and the new universal adapters so you can use any RAM with them, rather than just the Dominator blocks. The Dominator RAM. So I also mentioned I was going to be using Avexir Core Series RAM. This is 2400 megahertz. It has blinking blue lights, but that doesn't matter. I've already talked to my buddy Dave from Rig Mods, and he used the same RAM and had no problems using it. And I got a few tips from him. So Avexir RAM, these ones have the Hynix chips. They're very overclockable. My 1600 megahertz does over 2000 megahertz. And the 2400 megahertz set I've had running at 2400, but not over yet. I haven't tried yet. But I will be pushing that, and I'll let you guys know the results, how high. I'm hoping to get up around 29, but I might only get like 26. We'll see. But I want it stable too, obviously. Okay, so that's about the RAM. And here's what a stick looks like. And if you want, you can look on my page, and you can actually see it lit up. And I think I have a video. I do have a video of the red on there. This stuff is beautiful when it lights up the way it is, but for this particular build, we're not going to be needing the LEDs, because we're going to push the RAM probably later anyway, and I want some water cooling on it. Plus it looks damn good. And here it is. Here's what the package looks like. This is for your EK water block ×2. Now this comes with just the water block. You don't get the actual the adapters with this. This will just you buy this and it'll fit on 2 sticks of Dominator RAM when you buy the block. So don't expect to just buy the block and be able to stick any RAM on it. The block itself only fits Corsair Dominator RAM. So you have to get a ×2 block like I got, and you have to buy the adapter kit, which is right here. And it's all black, and I showed you guys in the overview. This is going to be me actually assembling it. I don't want to spend too much time showing you now, but you need to have this adapter kit also. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Dominator block and put it on a non-Dominator RAM, which will be the Avexir 2400 megahertz C10, and that's at 1.65 volts. So what it comes with, the kit comes with, you get 2 pieces of tin per stick, to do each side, which is thermal pads, and you get the back and the front of the RAM heat sinks, the new ones you're going to be putting on. So the first thing you need to do is take off, you have to be careful with this. You can use a hair dryer, or I'm going to use a really hot, where is it? I'm going to use a really hot heat gun, but I use it a lot, so I know how much temperature I'm putting on it. But if you're going to use a heat gun like that, you've got to be careful, because they're definitely dangerous. You can melt the solder easily on these chips and destroy them. But like I said, I use the thing for years. This particular one is like my baby, so I know how much I'm heating, what I'm heating. But with a blow dryer or a heat gun, what we want to do is, if you look kind of in this inside, you can see where the actual thermal pads are in the RAM. Any RAM, you'll be able to see it. And you want to try to heat just that area. You don't want to get the solder on any of these chips too hot. You just want to heat the area and get the old one off. So I'm going to get to that right now, and you're going to watch so you can see exactly how it's done, and if I screw up and everything else, or how many swears come out of my mouth or anything. I don't usually swear, but you never know. So this is my beast. I love it. It's my, a lot of people have seen these ones. They're like industrial. They're really, good heat gun. But it can get very hot. Okay, so I'm going to start trying to heat it a little bit. Because some might come right off, some might be a hassle. and this stick's coming off pretty easy. It says to use a screwdriver, but I'd rather use my hands. I wouldn't say I'm clumsy with a screwdriver, but all it takes is one slip, and you know, there goes some nice RAM. Well, as you can see, I've done one before, right before doing this new video, because the other video was too long, and it took me longer, but this one's coming off pretty fast. So, here's one heat shield off. This is the plastic that lights up because the actual LEDs are tiny on the end of the RAM. And I verified that with Dave at RigMods first, so I already knew what I had coming. Now just carefully peel the rest of the TIM off. TIM is, I'm meaning thermal paste when I say that, it's just shorter. It's just a pad like this. I imagine you probably could use the same thermal pad, but it's not recommended in the EK book, so I'm not going to do it, not on video. But if I didn't have any, I'm sure I would. And I'm sure EK's is a little better anyway. This one's being a little stubborn, so it cooled off, so I'm going to heat it a little more. And I'm really not heating it that much, because if I was, I wouldn't even be able to touch it with my hands. That's how hot the heat gun would get. And you don't want to like bend the memory. You want to try to do it very easy. And I'm trying to save the heat sinks too. I want to keep them from being damaged. Okay, so there's the other one. And same thing. Peel off the thermal paste. the thermal pads. So I've had a lot of thermal paste come in recently, a lot of talk about thermal paste, so it's kind of on my mind all the time right now. June Fist and IC Diamond, well, my buddy Chris gave me some IC Diamond to play with, and June Fist is sending me some of theirs to play with, so, of their thermal paste, that's what I've been bringing up. Well, there you go, there's Avexir 2400 megahertz RAM. And the LEDs, I can't even show them probably with a microscope, they're so small, they're tiny. They're right where these little solder points are all LEDs going across, which we won't see later. Okay, so at this point, we have the memory module. This one's absolutely clean, there's nothing left behind. But if there was, you would clean it with something, like a dry cloth or something, not with no static, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't use a chemical really, unless it's safe for modules. It's not the same as doing a, it's not the same as messing with a CPU. So you can't just lay any chemical down, it'll actually absorb it. Alright, so the next step is you take the pads from EK, and you get your scissors, and you cut them, which I already did ahead of time, and you cut them into spot slit sizes, about the same size as the RAM modules themselves. And it tells you this in the directions. So you want to cut them all up right now. And then once you get them cut, you're going to peel. I always peel the white off first, I find it easier. The thicker cardboard, remember there's a plastic on both sides and you have to get that off. If you don't get the plastic off and forget, it could cause a nasty mess later on for yourself. So I'm going to pause the video now, and I'll come back and I'm going to place all the RAM chips on right now. We're going to leave the top plastic on the thermal paste just so we don't get dirt and gunk on it from the table. But at this point I'm going to pause the video. When I have that all done, I'll come back because it takes a while. Okay, well I'm back, guys. Now, as you can see, I finished putting the thermal pads on, both sides. But what I did do was, you can tell one's shinier than the others. Right here, one is shinier. I left one on so I can show you the plastic. That's extremely important to get off. That's what takes so long too, is getting them off. If you ever did it before, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't done it, you'll find out. They're a little bit of a pain. But I use a razor and I just try to catch the edge of it and lift it up. But it likes to lift the thermal compound too at times. But they have to come off. If you forget them, which I've heard people do before, it can make a mess because they'll melt. So, this is what they look like. Just a clear, very thin piece of plastic is on the top. The bottom you can tell, it's a big white one, but you might not notice if you're new. If you're new, you might not notice something like this. And it's very important that they come off. So far you've seen what you have to do. You have to use a heat gun or a blow dryer, and you have to peel your memory apart and be careful. So there's some risk involved in doing this. But if you're an enthusiast and into modding or just into this kind of stuff, then it's really not that bad to do. It's a great kit. I'm super excited they offer it because it's something I've always wanted. Because Dominator RAM can get expensive, plus, I mean, I like to run some other RAM besides just Dominators, which I still like that RAM also, but I like the Avexers also, and I wanted water blocks on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take, I can't put this down now because dirt and everything will stick to it because I have all the plastics. I can't put the memory module down, so I'll try to point it out to you. This is the front. You can tell because it has the logo, the EK logo, and there's two ridges. You want to be the RAM. You want sitting on the bottom ridge, like center it so it's centered, and then have it sitting right in there, nice and neat. First, though, you want to make sure which way your RAM's sitting. So, if you want your little EK logo in the right place, which is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to look at Legion and figure that out where I want it. And because I want it to show. So on my RAM, apparently, it's got to be on the top, no matter what, to be showing. So I need it just like this. Okay. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the table. I can tell you right now though, if you put this down and you're not centered, and you pick it up, all those little pads, they're all going to be stuck to this adapter, and it might even happen now to me when I'm trying to show you. So I try to put just the edge of the RAM down first till I get it centered. There is like a little resistor I'm concerned about on this RAM. So I can't really go directly in the center, I don't think, unless I'm going to clear it. I think I'm going to clear it, so. Okay, so we'll center the RAM, and we'll drop it down nice and gently, and make sure it's tight to the top. Try to show you this without it falling apart. So we want to be sitting in there just like that, tight to the top. My RAM's going to sit in just like this, so the EK logo is going to be on the top like that. Which I already know because I just checked it for this stick. And now we take the second piece, which also has a notch, very simple, common sense. This notch sits into the other notch on the other piece. So you want to do the same thing. You want to make sure you're completely perfect when you put it down the first time, or else you're going to drag all them little all that thermal paste all over the place. Or move it after and not have your RAM in it. Okay, and as always, EK gives you the proper tools and hardware to put anything they send you together. So just about any time they send you something, you get hardware. So we're going to use the screws that are like beveled a little bit, and they have the flat top, not the rounded ones for the RAM. The other ones are for the block to go on, if you don't have Dominators. If you have Dominators, you use the screws from the Dominators. to bolt the block on after. So there's one, and you don't want to crank these super tight. You know, just, you can kind of tell. Well, it's hard to say that because a lot of people, if you're handy with tools, you can kind of tell, but you just want to put them down good and snug. You just don't want to super crank them. We're not out to break the memory or anything. On this RAM, there is one thing I was concerned about. I got to take a look at in a minute. It had a resistor sticking up high, which I didn't like. But I'm pretty sure I'm cleared it. Yeah, I'm cleared it. They made the RAM holders higher, so there's no concern. You want to get all your screws in before you tighten them down, because if you just seen what I did, I had one too tight. I couldn't get the last one in. That's with anything you're working on, especially when it beveled like this. Okay, so at this point I'm going to make really good sure that RAM's all the way pushed up, which it definitely is. I can see it from both sides. It's centered. And we're going to just snug these up. I'll do one on each side, then the center, but I'm going back and forth. I already did the center a little. Just evenly tighten them down. You don't want to crank one side down and then tighten the other on anything you work on either. I always try to do a crisscross pattern. I know I'm not looking at the screen, but I'm trying to get these done for you without wasting too much time. But there are the screws that I'm tightening, the 3 screws, which I'm already done with. And as you can see, RAM block's on, the RAM's in there. Really nice, huh? Compared to what it looked like a minute ago. So now there's a new RAM module. But the great part about this, oh, and here's the old sticks. Here's the light bar from the Avexir, because they had the LEDs. Here's one side not damaged with the paste still. So these are all ready to go back on if I want to put them back together later. And now I'll show you the block, because I already put one stick on. Okay, and here's what it looks like together. Pretty sweet, huh? From that one little stick of RAM to this nice water-cooled stick. There's only one stick on here I just did a few minutes ago, and I'll show you how easy it is to put on. I'll have to loosen the other RAM up a little because I need to reposition it. So I'm just going to loosen it a little bit. You actually want to put this on per rail. You put your 2 modules into your motherboard, then you put the block on, so you don't damage your RAM. Okay, so this is going on the outside, just like this. It's a little tricky to hold everything, but very doable. A good trick is to put the screw into the Allen wrench first. It'll hold it in place while you get it lined up. But remember, I'm just showing you this outside the computer. When I actually really put it together, it'll be in place. I'll put the memory modules into the motherboard, then I'll put the block on. Or else you have a good chance of breaking your memory or your motherboard or anything. It's just not a good idea. And I'm just getting these screws snug. trying to make this a quick video because it takes some time, but it don't take that long. But if I showed you most of the stuff, it's just boring, like me putting thermal pads on. I'm sure you really don't want to watch me put thermal pads on all day. But that's pretty much it. Snug these a little bit. They might not be completely tight, but good enough to show you they're not tight. But anyway, when it's together, it'll look something like that. You'll have your cool RAM set up in there. It's really hot looking on the motherboard. So there it is. The EK Dominator CSQ Dominator water block. And the adapter kit for it, which is actually the module adapter, yeah. Dominator Module Adapter. Sexy, isn't it? Alright guys, I hope this helps somehow. My bad out.